Eyeball her nose.
Marissa's got one. How about the other? I'll call the meeting to order. We'll start with Hannah for roll call.
Hannah Dix,
Dan Matthews.
Marissa Treat,
Brian Mon.
Butch Freeman.
John Wilkerson.
Notice of the meeting was properly posted on June 21st, and our clerk, Marissa Treat, will lead us in the pledge. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, ma'am. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of May 28th?
motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any individual consideration on the consent docket? Is there a motion?
Second,
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Mr. Wilkerson, you want to give us the election results?
Sure. Mr. Jonathan Clear out of the county clerk's office won the election by 14 votes. So his new term will be starting this July through June 30th of 2027.
Is there a motion to accept those results?
motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And Mr. Treasurer, you always like this next one with the stipends.
Oh, yes, I do, as a matter of fact. As soon as I get to the sheet, but anyway. This year, the stipends, I believe, are $900 is what we're looking to do. We do have plenty of money in the particular fund for the stipends. So I would recommend approval of item number 7 with the total amount not to exceed $69,300. I'll move the item.
Second,
We're voting on the stipends. You got him on there, Cassie? Okay. Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Would you like how I asked for that? Okay.
thank you, appreciate it.
Item 8 is $300,000 to the defined benefit plan. This was requested by Mr. Block.
Yeah, Business President. I request this. In the past, we've moved to move money, and it looked like with the forfeitures that we were at currently, I thought that it'd be good to go ahead and move it, especially since we're getting ready for the audit on the DB plan. I thought it'd be good just to go ahead and move it now instead of waiting till later. And that puts 1.3 approximately million from the forfeitures to the DB plan. It kind of helps the payroll and helps the county a little bit. So
Keith, unfortunately with the timing of this, they've already done the payroll process and they swap out retirement contributions to make this contribution. So it can't happen this fiscal year.
I understand, but we could put it as a payable.
Yeah, we could. So long story short, if we do it in July, it'll be counted on next fiscal year. If we would have done it before July, it would go towards this year's report and our required.
I agree with you, but I'm
Okay.
just saying that if we show it, it's still a payable if we approve it today and it gets approved by the Board of County Commissioners it's a payable from this one account to the other. And it'll probably make us look a little better when it comes to the footnotes, because it'll be an after the year
Oh, absolutely. I
footnote.
just want to make you
I
aware we couldn't do it
understand,
this
I
month.
understand that, because we've been
Yeah.
doing this for years, but normally we do it a little bit more, but we normally don't have the swing like we've had this year, so that's the reason I moved for this now, and then, yes, I know it'll go into next year's budget, but I want it to be effective so that we start off the first of the year clean.
Absolutely.
Okay, is that your motion, sir?
Yes, it is.
Can you make an effective date for that? For
Yes.
July or?
Amend it.
I'll make it as of 7/1/24, if that makes everybody happy.
That your, so amended a motion?
Yeah, it's a motion to move it. Since it can't be done for this year, we can do it effective 7/1, July of
On or
24.
after
Uh,
7/1.
What I would do is, during the month of July, I would make it during the month of July because those processes happen at the end of the month. So we can't make it happen on the first, just for,
Okay, the month of
Clarification.
July's payroll,
Thank you.
whatever. Just trying to help.
So the motion
appreciate it.
is. the-
Move 300,000 during the month of July to keep payroll happy, and sometime during the month of July of 2024. 300,000 is the motion.
There's a second?
second.
Okay, any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The forfeiture report, John?
Sure. Just bring you up to date. Our current balance is $1,093,000, healthy balance. Projected to be at the end of this fiscal year, 1.3 million. So we have plenty to do the transfer in July, like Mr. Block requested. So those are the numbers.
Is there a motion to receive his report?
So move.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The amendment?
Sure, I'll speak to that. This is in regards to rehired employees that were formerly retired. So our plan documents say if an employee is retired, they have access to their account to take distributions. And it also says if they come back to employment, they still have their prior account, but they have a new account set up that still has all the new rules attached to it. They have to be here 5 years to be vested. They can't pull money out. But as long as they're retired under their former account, which they met all the service rules, they still have all the benefits of all the other retirees. And that wasn't really outlined in the plan document that Bank of Oklahoma did. So they just need a little clarification to say, hey, once an employee retires, they're always classified as a retiree under that account. That's how we've always been doing it. And they can take money out of that account. If they're rehired, the plan document already addresses that. They get a new account. They're subject to 5-year vesting under that new account. So what this plan amendment does, it allows Bank of Oklahoma to do what they've already been doing. But if an employee is considered retired under their prior service and they came back, they can still take distributions from their old retirement account
And then they can still vest again.
on their new retirement account, correct?
Their two retirements.
Did this come about
The total.
as a result of one or more of our retirees bringing it up, or?
I think there were some issues. It just wasn't clear in the Bank of Oklahoma document, so they wanted to clarify it. That's as a matter of practice, we've always been allowed our retirees to take money out of their account. You know, if they come back and are rehired, of course they can't get money out of their new account because they're retired under the old account.
So you could be retired and then stay 5 years, vest again, and retire again.
Yes, as long as they meet the
And
rules.
how does that work? You just get 2 retirements because you have 2 different systems?
This doesn't count for the terminates and rehires of those who terminate on their own or were terminated and then come back within that short period of time and don't take the money out. They go back into the plan like they were before. This only takes ones that actually went through the retirement process, correct?
Okay, and so
Yes.
you can, sorry, before you, just so I understand, so you can be here, fully vest, retire, get hired back, vest again, retire again and get full benefits
Right.
again. So then if you retire twice, what does that look like?
So what it looks like on paper is they have two separate retirement accounts. So currently a retiree who met the rules of service, years of service, they were vested, they have full access to a retirement account. So they can see that retirement account. If they come back, they still have to meet the years of service and then the vesting 5 years. And they have a separate retirement account that sits there until they're vested, until they retire to access it. So currently those retired, rehired employees still have that retirement account that they're vested in, and they're able to take distributions out of that, but not touch their new
Right.
account.
But then when they've stayed 5 years, then they retire again, so they have two retirement accounts?
Correct.
And it's tracked as sources. So, say in this instance, you retired and you were awarded full retiree benefits, we would track that source separately. And then if you came back 2 years later and started contributing, you couldn't pull on the 2,000 you accumulated that year, but it was really for the benefit of if we have someone who retires and is taking, monthly installments, they don't have to stop getting that pay, or they don't have to limit their option to draw on those funds if they come back on a part-time rehired basis. And this came up with the recent restatement onto the BOKF document that happened at the end of last year. We just realized administratively, we wanted it more clearly outlined in an addendum. So it was a practice in place that's been in place, but operationally, we asked if we could have that written out specific so that our internal teams know exactly how to track it going forward.
John, what's the time frame difference of, like, what's the difference of a retirement eligible employee who retires but then goes to work for another county department relatively quickly? What's the time frame between retirement and transfer?
It should be at least 30 days for a true retirement. That's what the IRS says. So departments must give at least 30 days before that retired employee is hired back.
Okay.
We have lots of people that are retired and then come back to work here.
Right, yeah.
And I know in the past, we've had people who have retired on Friday and come back to work in the same department on Monday so that they could have access to their retirement account. Is there anything going to change with how that's handled?
Well,
Actually, one of my
yeah,
questions.
if with that rule, there's always at least a 30-day
30
rule.
days.
Yeah, 30-day rule.
I don't think that's applied.
So it's being applied
in my
now.
tenure, I don't think that applied.
Yeah, it's been applied now for the last 3 or 4 years.
Okay.
Are you saying during your tenure that you crossed the IRS on our behalf?
Not me. Not me.
Not him.
I wasn't on the retirement board there.
Can I?
It does
But-
seem,
but
I
not-
think, a good conversation. I mean, because it does seem that that has potentially occurred where somebody's retired and then very shortly after they get rehired. So you kind of question the intention there.
Well, one thing that happens is if you've ever had it done or an employee in a department has had it done, you've been advised to not be inconsistent with a plan with a benefit offered to another employee. So what tends to happen is when one sees it done, then they come up and say, me too. And if you discriminate against them, you've got a potential issue there.
We've also had them request, because of that 457 account, you can't draw from that 457 while you're still employed. So I've had employees come and say, could I not be employed next week and then get rehired the following week so that I could draw from my 457 of money that they put into it that then they're desperately needing? I've had those requests as well.
I think that's usually what drives behind all of it, but
Mm-hmm.
sometimes the precedent is established by your predecessor and it extends over, but they're still in the same department in the eyes of potential discrimination.
Okay, being the old guy that's on the group with Mr. Freeman,
I just called you old.
well, we're both old. If I remember correctly, going back to 1992 and forward, when we have an amendment to the plan, we have a reading in one meeting and vote the next. We cannot do it all in one meeting, as the old rule was. So again, it's up to the chair, but the old rule was, and the way we had done it is anytime we did an amendment, we had a reading at the meeting, go over that reading, and then it's brought back to the board on the next meeting so that we can vote, so that it gives, you have to publish it for some reason. because
Not
it's
up to me, it's up to the DA.
That's news to me. We've never done that with plan amendments on a retirement plan.
Yeah, we did before.
Yeah, but since I've been here with Invest Trust, we've
Oh.
done numerous ones. We've never done that, but if you'd like to do that.
Well,
please
I
talk
just
to the
remember
chairman.
going back, when we did amendments, and we did a bunch of amendments back before you were on the board, John, and before you were here with, is that we sat there and we read them at one meeting and approved them in the next. I don't remember us doing them that quickly on the amendments, but we've always had some form of reading in one meeting, and even if it was proposed that it was brought back to the next meeting as the final, that's still a reading in the first meeting. I have no problem, it's just the tradition goes back to back when we did some amendments and Jim Prince was doing the amendments, he would bring the amendments to us, says, here's what we're proposing is the amendments at first meeting, the next meeting they were hardcore. And we did have that way. And so I'm just trying to not try to cross a line. I just don't want somebody to come back to this board on this change and say, oh, you guys didn't do what you'd done traditionally going back to my first days on this board. So it's your call, it's the chairman's call, but I'm just saying that's what
It's not my call.
Well, I know this is a little bit of a gray area because it's an amendment since the document was already restated, but it was additional language that should have been included, but we didn't have clearly outlined. And so it's not, to your point, if they're making changes, if there's things going to be an impact, whether positive or negative, absolutely for discussion. Just for clarity in this one, it's having to be notated as an amendment, but it's for us to document and clearly outline the process that's been in place. But I wanted to come in case there were questions on the process, any changes we want to make, and I can step out of the way. Sorry about that.
You're fine, you're fine. As far as it goes, I don't know what the tradition is, but I would say you were going to be governed by your latest, greatest bylaws for this board, and those can change over the years. So I don't know if anybody has a handy copy
Cassie.
available,
Not
but I can definitely go check it out. But I would say that typically the amendments, your process would be governed by that, not by any form of tradition. And if it had been done in the past, that might be have been a preference, but unless there's a specific requirement from your bylaws to do it that way, then it's not going to be required to be done that way.
And to your knowledge, there's not.
Not for the last 15 years.
If you would like to recess for a moment, I can go look, or if you want to just wait for just a moment, I can go look.
just let it go. It's just that we always had that before, and I don't know whether the bylaws said it, but again, I've been here a lot longer. Butch and I have here been a lot longer than a lot of people, and we were sitting here talking about it. In the past, you were supposed to publish when it's an amendment to the plan. Now, this sounds like more of a Scrivener's error than an amendment.
What I was going to mention.
If it's a
while ago.
Scrivener's error, then I don't think that's an amendment. If that's a Scrivener's error, it's not an amendment. It's a correction of a wording. So then it wouldn't be an amendment. But a full-blown amendment to the plan, that's a different story. And I think we can let this go as a Scrivener's error and go with it that way. I just don't want it to come back to haunt us.
Since it doesn't have that word, since it has an amendment on the agenda, do you want to just
Well,
table it
it's
and-
amending it. I mean, it is amending our agreement, but it is more of a clarification than taking it from broad scope into more, hey, here's exactly what we meant. John, did we, and I may be remembering incorrectly because I've been here 3 years, but we've made an amendment like this during the InvestTrust BOK transition, didn't
Multiple
we?
ones, yeah.
Okay.
And we just brought them to the board and they approved those at those meetings.
Now, big content changes. I remember going through that process. That was much more of a process. But I remember us doing smaller, like clarifying amendments before. Yeah, I think it's that amendment language because I would agree. If it's a severe content change, we would want to present it and then come back and vote. But if we're just getting more clarification versus broad, I think it's that amendment verbiage that's kind of catching us up.
And it in the prior document, which was dated, which was one of the intentions in moving to BOKF, was to restate it. It wasn't clearly outlined there. It was seen as an administrative, but our practices are to have it clearly outlined. So as we started implementing on our document, we realized, it wasn't transferred over because it wasn't outlined, but we'd like that in place. So just to get a little more clarity on that aspect.
Okay.
I am presently having the other girls in my office look to see if they can go ahead and just print it and bring me a copy.
Okay, well, let's just skip this item to the heel of the agenda. The agreement with Sageview.
Sure, this is just a standard renewal. They come up with our required annual contribution for the pension plan. There's a $250 increase in cost. Total cost is $11,900.
Move approval.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
I
If y'all could please push your buttons for me, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
push your button.
Motion?
Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item 12.
I like this part because it's all CPAs. CPAs need to be
Right
checked.
down your alley. This is our annual financial audit of the pension plan. The cost is $5,750, and no increase in cost at all.
Cheap at
So-
twice the price. I'll move to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye.
I also.
Any
move
opposed?
To get them paid.
Retirement from Michael Howe.
Sure, he's an employee with District 3. He qualifies for retirement with health.
Move approval.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Christy McNeil.
Sure, she's a long-term employee with the jail trust. She qualifies for retirement.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Beverly Willow Height.
She's a jail trust employee. She qualifies for retirement.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Levon Arnold.
She's a long-term court clerk employee. She qualifies for retirement.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any citizens to speak? Board comments. Hannah, your last time.
It has been an honor and a privilege. I have been so excited to sit on this board and to participate in this, and I'm sad to give it up, but I know that Mr. Cloud will do a great job, so I'm excited. I'll come back. I'll be one of the people to come do a citizen comment one day since we don't forget any. But I just want to say thank you to all of you, and it has been an absolute privilege.
We'll miss you.
Just to echo, Hannah, we are gonna miss you. Again, you not only bring a delightful personality, but you also bring a lot of knowledge, and most important is you represent a really key part of our entire county. So we are going to miss you. You've done a magnificent job. Thank you
you
for
so
the 3
much.
years.
Good luck.
I'll miss you.
I'll miss you too.
You'll still see me, John. You won't get rid of me that easily.
Go ahead. Then I'll move to approve.
Then any new business, and then I think we have it right here. Just check.
May have been tradition and not written in writing.
Well, I don't think it's a bad suggestion. Just a question about whether we just want to procedurally do things correct.
I understand. And that was what was done years ago.
We'll move it. That's it.
Since this isn't a change to the plan, I would like to go ahead and move it so we could have them have it on record.
My suggestion, John, is if we find out later it should have been, we'll just bring it back to next meeting and re-vote it again. Let's vote it now, and then if it doesn't matter, need to be revoted, we don't have to revote it.
I think staff is looking for it right now since we're all here. We may just, if you don't mind, they're already taking the time to go find it. They stopped what they were doing to look for it. Butch can sing us a song.
Ooh, you'd rather have me recite poetry than sing.
I want to see what Keith.
We can all learn something today.
What do I do? Screw everything up for everybody now?
It's fine. We had nothing else to do but hang out here.
Well,
It's good to learn. It's good to see what the bylaws have to say.
you know, it's funny is if we did it one way and we kind of.
Yeah.
matter.
I'm all about checking the law and the bylaws on things before somebody says, well, it's the way the county's always done it.
No, it's not just that. It's,
How many times do I hear that this last year?
I only, I've been on this board a long time. So
Well, we
Rich and I are the only
appreciate,
two that are still here from the original crew.
well, we appreciate your service and happy to learn from it.
Oh, you probably don't.
My staff will tell you that that specific phrase is something that's not allowed to be uttered in my office, is
Mm.
we've always done it that way. Which I like to know that, and I'm happy to know that, but every time I ask a question and it's, well, we always did it. Cool. What's the answer to my question?
Right. Yeah. Yes, yes, yes. We have a binder we're building with the law on every time there's a question that comes up. It's helpful.
I personally was ready to blame BOK. It made a lot more sense to me.
I'll follow Gordon. It's Griffin's fault. He did it.
I brought him here so that we could just point at him.
Hey, John, what they do with that 300,000, call it subsequent event on the audit. So that's what's important. It'll still show up in the audit, subsequent event.
I just want to make sure the timing of it has to be July 1st. So that's why we said that in the month of July.
No, no, my dog. Well, we'd stay out of the heat for a few more months.
Yeah. God, it's hot. Man, it's hot.
Oh,
It was hot this weekend too.
I couldn't let me cook outside. Afraid I was gonna faint. She said, "You have had too many injuries. You don't need to faint out." So I wanted to get it once.
Doesn't address it.
Doesn't address it, then it must have been a deal with that, whoever the board member, whoever was chairman at the time made that decision. That was the chair's decision at the time. You can go do whatever you want to.
Okay. So I believe there's been a motion and a second already made, correct? Cassie? Or, yep.
It is a resolution from 2007, and it says, about the home from talk about amendments to the plan under Article 10, Section 1001. County Building expects to continue the plan, but nevertheless reserves the right of at any time to modify, amend, or terminate the plan. Pursuant to resolution adopted by the retirement board, the plan may be fully or partially amended or otherwise modified at any time by the execution of a written agreement to the plan on behalf of the county. Provided, however, that no such modification or amendment shall be permitted, shall commit any part of the trust fund or any other part that is required to be distributed in order to meet necessary expenses or to be used or diverted for the purposes other than for exclusive account of participants and the beneficiaries. It goes on, but basically it says it can be amended at any time, or partially or amended at any time upon written resolution, and it does not require any additional time frames or.
Okay. That was the decision at the time. 2007. That's after 1992.
Okay, given that then, it's believed that we can do this now. So there already, I believe, is a motion and a second on the table. Do you have? Oh, okay. Will somebody take a stab at it?
I'll motion to approve.
All right. Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Already gone through board comments. Any new business? Is there a motion to adjourn?
I move.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Bye, Hannah.
Bye. You'll still see me.